Okay, welcome back, everybody. My name is Simeon, as you all know, Kpips for short, and I'm here to give you another valuable video as usual. So yesterday I posted the Kpips indicator, and today I want us to look at it together and see the trades we could take or the trades that were available today based on the indicator, and see how we can work around it. I also want to show us some of the ways I think we can approach the market, especially on days that are not necessarily trending. Another thing but before we even go that far, I would like you to please share, like, and comment below and subscribe to help and support this channel. It really goes a long way in supporting me and making all this valuable content. Like I said, I have a lot of strategies I still want to give to us in future. At least I have quite a lot, even with a robot that I'm working on that is looking promising. But that's by the way. Just like, support, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. All right, so we'll be going into the charts now to see some of the signals that came up today, and see how we could have done what to start, how the indicator worked, and the kind of profits we could have made today. Remember, not every day is a great day, but as a trader, you have to embrace both the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you have to have ways by which you prepare yourself in case there are days that might not work for you best. Anyways, let's go back into the video, and I'm going to be showing you and telling you some things that I think will be helpful in making this particular strategy profitable for you. I've back tested it. I know it works. That's why I'm showing you. So I want to give you enough confidence in this strategy. All right, see you guys later. Let's go to the video. All right, guys. Yeah, today we are here again to show you how the trade would have gone. I expect that by now you guys have the indicator, and so we're going to be looking at the trades and seeing what could have happened or what should have happened today. So remember, what I told you guys was that the reason I gave this indicator is so that eventually every one of you that have downloaded this stuff can eventually work on how best you think this strategy is going to suit you. The time you want to trade. I personally trade the New York session, but I've also noticed that it works good in London session. So by the time you want to trade, or based on wherever you are, because it goes around in the market, and how you want to go about it, because you don't necessarily have to follow my parameters. You can eventually, when you look at the trade, look at the consistency, you can say, oh, I think this happens more in the market. In fact, that's what good traders do. There is no copy and paste anyway. That's why sometimes no two traders trade alike. Everybody, when you get a strategy, what you do is now you try to look for a way to make that strategy your own. You try to look for a way to make this strategy yours. Moving averages has always been there, but there are many ways I trade moving averages now that it's my own. I know how to do it. I can trade it with my eyes closed. So that's the concept of this. So yeah, I discovered that yesterday, some people put in the comments, yesterday's market there was no direction in yesterday's market, really. So we didn't, based on my parameters, a lot of us we would have had some losing trades, let me put it that way. However, I'm still going to go to that today anyways. I'm going to show you something. Like I said, I'm going to be releasing a video on the mates of win rates. Somebody asked me, what's my highest drawdown? It's not about my highest drawdown. It's about you looking at. However, like I said, personally, anytime, any day, because it's a 5-minute strategy and there are always opportunities. Any day I have 3 consecutive losses. That means I have 3 losses in a row in one day. Most of the time, that's all for the day for me, especially if it happens in a pair. In fact, most times I trade 1 pair per day, except because that's when I can focus, because EU and GU, most of the time, they go in the same direction. So it's like you're taking the same thing. So, but anytime I have 3 losses in one day, back to back to back, I'm not saying, so if I had 1 win, then I had 2 losses or 3 losses after that time, I'm still going to keep trading. Or let's say I had 2 losses, then I had 1 win, then I had another, I was thinking, but the first 3 trades I took, and I had losses back to back to back, especially if those signals came in different directions. Let's say one came as a sell, I took the sell, I lost. Another one came as a buy, I took the buy, I lost. Another one came as a sell, and I will know surely the market has not decided the trend it wants to follow. because this strategy majorly works better in a trend because it's moving average. So that's my own personal stuff. So, you know, somebody might look at the chart and say like, oh, look at all these things. This would have been a lot of losses. Well, it could be if you were trying to trade everything. But again, how realistic is it for you to keep trading all signals if you're not a robot? So that's why, traders eventually, they have a particular session they like trading, or a particular time they like trading. I like trading New York session most of the time, but I also discovered that whenever I'm awake, London session also works fine. So in fact, I rarely trade 2 sessions at a time. I trade just one. If I trade London session, it simply means that time I may not be trading New York session. And even my New York session, I don't even wait till the end of the session. I just trade between a certain time to a certain time. That's it. So that might also help you. Whenever you place your trades, if you lose 3 trades back to back, forget that day. Wait for another day. It always happens. Wait for another day. It happens. Every day is, some days are good, some days are great, and some days are ugly. It's one of the things. You have to embrace those things as a trader. However, today, let's see what could have happened today. So based on the indicator, we have a buy signal over here. You see that 4 pips stop loss or whatever. The trade moves to as much as 8 pips. So now these are the things that I want you to do. Now you begin to look at it for yourself. For instance, if you see here, if you were to follow my parameters, 4 pips, you would have hit your stop loss. So now, if you look back, you might begin to say, well, I think I would prefer 5 pips. I think I'll prefer 6 pips so that all these little things won't hit me. Or you might say, okay, I'm going to be using 4 pips stop loss. And maybe instead of targeting 8 pips, take profit, maybe I'll target 6 pips. That one is easy to get. Or you can as well say, I've discovered that this 8 pips is too little because whenever it gets to a trend, it can really move. In fact, this same moving average, there's a setting I use whereby anytime I enter a trade, it's a different setting for this one anyway, but I'll share that in future. Anytime I enter a trade, the only thing I'm looking for is 1 to 6. I'm looking for 6%. I'm risking 1%, but I'm looking for 6% profit. So, but the thing about that is that with that, you have much more drawdown. But when you hit it well. And it covers for whatever drawdown you have. So you can also say, okay, well, I might also target that, and that might be a better strategy for me instead of this 2 to 1. So those are the things I want you to look at. In fact, some of you can also even say, what I think I'll just do 1 to 1. Any win rate, any risk to reward can make profit in the market. It depends. It depends on how you trade it. And that's one myth. So you don't keep following all these gurus. Some will say, if it's not up to 3 to 1, then I won't trade it. Yes, that's for them based on their strategy. But you have to look at what works for me. Some people are day traders, some are swing traders, some are scalpers. The only way they make money from this market is to target 1 pip, 2 pips, and yet they are profitable. Even some are even much more profitable than the ones that target 100 pips. Because, they know what works for them and they know how it works. And they trade it, and that's what I want you to do. So this system this same strategy, this same indicator can work for long term in terms of your targeting 1 to 5, 1 to 6. Can work for scalpers. Can work for any kind of traders. In fact, let me finish today's whatever, and I will show you something. All right. So this went as much as 8 pips. You see, that was a buy. This buy, he would have hit my stop loss here, and it didn't go more than like 6 pips. So this, for instance, if you were targeting 6 pips, probably you would have been out of this market, or if you're just targeting 1 to 1. But if you were using my strategy, you were using my parameters, for instance. So let's say this one. Let's say you won this or you lost. Let's say you lost this. Let me be sure. Let me be sure. All right. Yeah, so let's say you could win this one if you have a low spread. You could win this one, and you could lose it, whatever, depending on your, because I said now, one time you are trading, factor in spread into your whatever. So what I do most of the time is that even though I'm targeting 4 pips, I just put like 4.5 so that I know at least I give opportunity for that. And if you have done that here, you will win this particular trade. So let's say you've won one, and you know this is 2 to 1. This one, you surely lose it if you were trading my way. So now you have, instead of 2, you have -1, you have 1. This one you would have won it surely. And this is where I'm talking about. So for some people, you might say, oh, anything I want to trade, I want to make sure it's at least 1 to 5. So that means if I'm risking, you can even make sure you can say, okay, make my stop loss 5 pips. But anytime I enter a trade, I want to gain at least 20 pips or 25 pips. You will decide that, or 30 pips or whatever pips. So let's say you want to gain 5 pips, 25 pips. So that means anytime I enter a trade, I'm risking 1% to gain 5% is possible. So in that case, that means you would have lost this first trade. You would have lost this second trade, because when you are targeting long risk to reward, then you should not be afraid of losing trades, because you're going to have a lot of losing trades. But when you win one trade, it's going to cover for all the losses, and that's the thing. So this particular one now, you see this one, 5 pips, you did not get there, but you could have had your 25 pips somewhere around here. 25 pips. You could even have 30 pips if you want. So let's say 25 pips, 1 to 5. Or let's make it a round number. Let's say 1 to 4. Let's leave 1 to 5. It's okay. So now you lost 2 trades at first. You lost 2 trades here. You lost 1. You lost 2. But this one trade gave you 5 pips. Gave you 5% if you are risking 1 to 5. Gave you 5%. So this trade would have covered these 2 losses. Now you are up 3%. And this is still London session. And now another opportunity came up here. You see, another opportunity came up here. Let's say you are using your 5 as usual to 25. You see, 5 to 25. You see here, you would have won again. So you would have won these 2 trades in this session. We're already 3% plus another 5%. Now you're 8% in just one day, in just one session. So in this case, you don't even need to trade New York session that is just starting here, because you already had 8%. That's enough to just go and sleep and go and do other things, go and enjoy your life. But if you insist, you can still come and say, okay, well, I want to trade every session. Now, here, you see, that's where it gets tricky. So you see now, here, if you are using 5%, 5 pips stop loss, this might hit your stop loss. But if you are using more than that, maybe, but this might have hit your stop loss, and you would have, but even if you hit your stop loss, because now you can see it's already like 14%. Even if you hit your stop loss, it's just 1%. Out of the 8%, you still have 7%, because you could be lucky. Another opportunity might come before the end of the New York session. So that's how I trade. If I lose 3 trades in a row, I forget that day. I forget that day, because usually I only trade one session. I forget that day. I come the next day. That's how I trade. Because so that means in this particular case now, I believe I would have won this one. But I believe I would have won it. But let's even say I lost it. If I lose this one and I lose this second one too, if I lose this third one, that's all. So because of this, I won this third one. Let's even use the way I'm using. Let's say I lost this first one, just hypothetically. I lost this first one. I lost the second one. Now I've lost 2%. This third trade now would have given me my 2% back. Give me my 2% back. Then I got another opportunity here. Then I would have gotten 2% free of charge. And that's it. That's okay for that session. That's okay for that session. And you can still continue trading is okay, So that's how I do. Because if I still trade, I could have lost this one. I will still be waiting for another opportunity. Maybe this one will give me another opportunity. That's how I trade it. And that's what I want you to trade. This is what GPB USD. Let's go to Euro USD. So remember, this is London session. So this is when we would have traded. You see this candle here? 6 pips. So if you're targeting 6 pips, for instance, you would have won here. But let's say you're looking for my 8 pips, the way I taught you to trade it. So we would have lost this trade. So this is a loss, 1. But we got another opportunity to sell here. So this one we would have won if I'm looking for 8 pips. However, like I said, if you are someone that is looking for 25 pips, like we said, yeah, so you would have lost the first trade, but you'll still be in the market looking for your 25 pips, you see? Your 25 pips you get your 25 pips somewhere around here. That means even though you've lost one trade, this one trade that you enter you will gain 5 pips and 5%. Then if you remove your 1 pip that you lost from 5%, you are still up 4%. So you don't, in that case, you don't need to trade as much as possible. But and that is the reason for this stuff. So you don't just look at one day and the day did not go as well as you would have loved and say, oh, this thing looks like a lot of losses. No, that's not how you can't become a good trader that way. You can't just become a good trader looking. Every good trader, you have to put in some work and be like, okay, how does this thing work for me? How can I maximize it? Go back. I told you the candles do not repent. So any candle you see, that's the way it would be, that has been. So it's easy for you to say, okay, this happened here, and this is what I want to do. And this is what I think if I do would make me profitable. So I would have lost this first trade. I would have won this second trade, 2%. I would have entered another trade here. With my 4 pips, I would have lost this one. And those are the things that I said the other time, that for you now, you might say, okay, that 4 pips may not, because even me, sometimes I adjust to 4.5. But the reason why I adjust 4.5 really is because of spread, 4.5 pips sometimes, because it doesn't really matter. So you might say, okay, I want to use 5 pips, at least that is safer, because if all we have been trading, you see that 5 pips is safer. But I'm just using the way I've been using my trade. So, and you also work with your own. And that's the concept. That's what I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you this so that you can eventually develop your own. That's why I went through the stress of trying to bring out this indicator. So you're not just be guessing. So like I said, I would have lost the first trade. I would have won this second trade. Now I will have 1%. I lost one here. I got 2%. I have 1% positive. Let's even say I lost this trade. Let's even say I lost it. Now I would have had what? Zero. I'm still positive. I'm zero, break even. Then here, there's another trade here. And I've gotten this trade, gotten my 2 pips. Now I'm 2% up. Then the second trade, I won this one too. And now I'm 4% up. You understand? Now I'm 4%. I lost 2 trades here. Now I'm 4% up. And so this is the reason why I personally trade little, whatever, because by the time I was here, I've gotten my 4%. The person who held on to his trade from here, so we get his own 5% and would have lost down. So eventually would have ended up with 4%. But the only difference, the only good thing about if you hold your trade for long is that you will not have all the roller coaster of you are losing 1, losing 2. You just hold on to the trade. Your 5% is here and nothing has touched it ever since. So all this moving and whatever, it doesn't concern you. You just hold on to that trade until you hit your 5% somewhere around there. And for that session, you are good. Then again, if you still want to trade other sessions, well, more grease to your elbow. So you see, this one would have even won again. So if naturally this is the session I trade, New York session. So this would be my first signal. This would be my first signal. I would have won it here already. 8 pips. But if you are waiting for it 25 pips, you will still be in the trade. Already the trade has gotten to as much as 20 already. So we don't know if it's going to reverse or it's going to keep going. So these are the things that I want you to look at. Then for the trade of yesterday, I told you, if you check the video, I was talking about a friend of mine, a student of mine that I taught this strategy, and he trades is totally different. He trades, the way he trades is totally different from how I taught him, or how I taught him. Yes, he has made it his own. And we're sharing, he was, yesterday, as few people said, it looked like yesterday was a lot of losses. But I asked, I know he trades different. So I asked, how was your trade yesterday? And his trade was good. Because first and foremost, this guy still has a full-time job. He works a 9 to 5. So he doesn't really have enough time to trade, a lot of time to trade. So what he does is that he scalps with the strategy. He uses the strategy to scalp. That's how he trades. And every day he's just looking for 2 trades. That's what he looks for. He's just looking for 2 opportunities. He typically trades New York. He typically trades London session anyway. So he's just looking for 2 opportunities. When he gets 2 opportunities, blah blah, he scalps. And if he wins the 2, that's all for the day. So that's how he trades. He's ready to risk 4% of his account, and whatever he gets. So let me just show you what he told me yesterday. He was like, wow, it was a good day. So what he does is this. I'm not advising you do the same, but I'm saying it's something you can look at so that you know, just because something you can look at so that at least every day you can win something. Because I really want you to win. And I know you can win with this strategy. I know, I'm sure of it, I'm confident. However, there are other things I'm going to teach you, but even with this, if you put some work into it, you will come up with a strategy that works for you. So how this person trade is, I'm giving you a straight plan right now. So every time the signal comes out, he is looking for only 2.5 or 3 pips, 2 pips, 5 points, or 3 pips maximum. In fact, most of the time, he's looking for 2 to 3 pips. That's how he trades, 2 to 3 pips. That's all he's looking for. So what he does is that he capitalizes on his lot size because he's a scalper. He just look for 2 or 3 trades because he is going to work. And in the morning, this time he has free time to just quickly look for quick trades. Any 2 or 3. When he gets it, he forgets and he goes to work. And even if he loses those 2 times, he forgets about it, he goes to work, comes the next day, or whenever he has opportunity again. But that's how he does it, because in the day he has made up his mind, he's not ready to lose more than 4%. So what he does typically is that for every trade, he risks 2% of his account for each trade, and he's looking for just 1% profit. So his own risk to reward is crazy. And that's why I said it last time, that his profitability, his win rate is high. He's really profitable. But that is so, his win rate is really high because his risk to reward is low. So this was the trade he took yesterday. I would have probably lost this trade because he didn't get to my 8 pips. But he just looking for 3 pips. You see, he won on this candle. He won. Then the next candle that came, this same buy, looking for 3 pips. He won again, and he was out of the market. He went to work. Simple. It's just like scalping. Some people that scalp, most time they don't put their stop loss. They just scalp, look for 2 or 3 pips. It is when the trade goes against them, when it gets to a certain place, that they cut off the trade. That's almost the same thing he is doing. Only that from the beginning of the trade, he has determined how much he's ready to lose from the trade. That's what it means. So it can work for you anyhow. This is yesterday. You can look at the date and check it again. This was yesterday's trade. So if he was scalping these 2 trades now, he would have gotten his 2%. This one he would have lost if he was looking for his 3%. He would have lost. But again, if let's say he keeps trading out or whatever, and he enters here, you would win this one. So you see, one thing about trading generally is that sometimes even you must know what you want to trade, when you want to trade, your targets, or at least the targets you want to have for the day. And if you don't have profit target, at least you must have loss target. That's if you don't, you will not last in the game. You must have at least profit target. But let's even say you don't have profit target, because sometimes some days are so good, it's better you take all the profits. But you must have loss target, that okay, any day I lose more than this, or I lose as much as this, that I'm calling it a day. I'm coming the next day. If you do that, you would always be profitable. So that guy, like I said, yeah, he uses 5 pips, 5 pips stop loss, and it take profit of 3 pips, 2.5, 3 pips. So 5 pips stop loss, he didn't reach his 5 pips here, and he would have won this one too. So you see here, 1, 2, he lost this one. 1, 2. The only thing about that is that if he loses a trade, he needs about 1 or 2 to recover. So, but here is profitable. This particular day that a lot of us, I would have lost this trade because it did not get to 8 pips. I would have lost another, I would have lost, let me see. Okay, I would have won this one. I would have lost this one because I use 4 pips. He uses 5 pips. But if I use 5 pips, I would have won this one too. Yes, that same yesterday. Anyway, that's for London session. And but what was I trying to say? Even this trade, so I would have lost this trade, for instance, because I'm looking for 8 pips. And that's why I said, even if you are looking for 4 to 4, you would have, but he won this one because he's using 5 pips stop loss. He didn't get to his 5 pips here before he got to his 3 pips. So when I was saying that some people who lost the trade, it was like, how? That he was profitable because he was just looking for 3 pips, 2, 3 pips, 2, 3 pips. Sometimes if he's really in the zone, he looks for 4 pips. If he gets 4 pips for one trade, he just forgets about it because he risks 2% to gain 1%. So I don't trade that way. I don't trade that way because I'm usually on the market and I know that the strategies works enough for me to get what I want to get from the market. So, but he has a full-time job, so he doesn't really have all the time. And that's why I posted this stuff. So this Euro USD, let's go to I think I've done this one before also. So it's the same. It's the same. So don't just let's look at yesterday's trade from Euro from GU. Don't just look at one day and say, oh, it looks like this day there was a lot of loss and you don't trade. No, look at, okay, what could I have done if I was in this market? How could I have profited from this market? That's because, like I said, Euro and GU, you're almost the same thing. This one won anyway. So he was not looking for all this, he was just looking for 3%, 3 pips, 2 to 3 pips. He has gotten his stuff. Another 3 pips here, he has won. This third trade too. See, third trade, he will win this third trade. On Euro USD, he would have lost that one. So these 3 trades now, he has won already. He has won 3 trades if he was trading 3 trades, but he's only looking for 2 trades per day. But imagine if you are scalping, you're looking for 3 pips, 3 pips. It means that this one too, you will win. This candle here, you will win. You will almost win every time. I was saying that yesterday, saying that there are ways you can increase your win rate. If it's win rate you are after, some people just like a high win rate, just want to win every time they place a trade. Then it means that you are going to sacrifice risk to reward, but which is still fine because you can be profitable either ways. So all these candles that I would have lost in because it did not get to my own top profit target, you would win because each time it gets to 3 pips. Each time it gets to 3 pips. This one was 3 pips. Another opportunity came here again. And it did not reach your stop loss because you're using 5 pips now to gain 3 pips. You would have won here again. You understand? So it depends on how you trade. Every strategy works. I said it from the beginning. Every strategy works. It depends on how you trade it. So I want you now, with all these things, you see, 3 pips will always give you more win. That's not how I trade it, but this is how one of my friends trades his strategy, and he has been profitable. I mean, like I said, no matter what happens, there will still be some days you might have losing days, but you can't have losing months. In fact, there's even a rare chance you will have losing weeks. You might have losing days. There's no strategy that you don't have losing days, no matter how good. But put it to work. Put it to work. So yeah, we've covered today. Today's trade. We've covered today's trade. And like I said, I'll be having a live trade with you guys using this strategy so that you see how it works and we'll look at it ourselves. Like the days we'll be having the live trade does not mean that day is going to be profitable. At least we're going to say that I'm taking those trades. But it's straightforward. I've not taken my live trades because my Forex fund is I'm still having challenges with them. They are yet to reply me. But you know what I'm going to do? Maybe tomorrow. I hope they said they're going to reply me. But let's say they don't, I'll just open an account, probably today, so that we can take some trades. Could even be a demo account, or it could even be a live account with just a little bit of money. And we'll just place these trades together so that will give you confidence. But really, how I trade is different. How you will trade it will be different. So I can use different things. I've showed you different ways you can go about this market. You can tackle it in different ways. You can go, because moving average, you can go for longer. See this one now. If you were, you could stay on this market for as much as 40 pips. That would have been 1 to 10. I told you if I have a strategy that goes 1 to 6, so it works. It works when you get an opportunity. For instance, like this one that says sell here, you did not hit your stop loss. If you held on to the trade, you can have as much as 1 to. So you can determine, like, okay, you know what? I don't like all this 1 to 2, 1 to 1. When I get a good one, I want one that will give me 1 to 7. So even if I have little losses here and there, I will still make up for it. It depends. You figure it out. I'm not going to tell you all that. My own is to make sure you're profitable by giving you different strategies that you can now eventually tweak and make work. All right, let's go back to the video. May the peeps be with us all. Okay, there you go. So we've mentioned certain things in the video. We've talked about how I think you can approach the market. You can always tweak your own risk to reward. You can pick whatever risk to reward you think works for you, and you can also choose the type and the time that you would like to trade. You don't have to trade all the signals. It's really not, except you want to, except you're a robot. It's really not advisable to trade all the signals, because but again, if you want to, you can. It just depends on how you want to approach the market. So you don't have to copy other people, how they trade, how they do not trade. You choose the one that works for you. If you like a longer risk to reward, if you want a shorter risk to reward, whatever you think works best for you. If you want to scalp, you want to day trade, whatever works for you, just pick it up. Explain some of it. Tomorrow also we'll be checking the market together tomorrow. So I'm confident of this strategy. That's why I keep coming every day to give you an update. Let's look at these things together. I'm not showing you things that happened last year. I'm showing you day by day how this strategy works. I want you to have enough confidence in it before I now unveil another strategy, which I will be showing you very soon. As a matter of fact, I think by my next video, I would probably be making the Telegram channel available, because I can see that with this new indicator that I just developed, I see that we seem to have quite a lot of questions, and a lot of questions might still come up. So I think the Telegram channel might be a better way to address some of these things, because you might not be able to ask those questions in the comment section. So I'll just make that Telegram channel available right now. I wanted us to be much more before I did that, but it doesn't really matter, because I really want you guys to start working on this stuff and start making money on it. Okay, so once again, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and help us promote this channel. And one other thing that you can do for me is that these strategies, as I keep bringing them up, please try to work on them. And whatever you get from the strategies, whatever result you get, always share it with us so that we can know how best we can serve you. Or if there's anything you want me to address, I can also address it. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. May the pips be with us. Gotcha.